Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure, all Bookmap limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. And note that Bookmap Discord is free and available to everyone, whether you subscribe to Bookmap or not. It's a very active community. There's a lot of great content there on a wide variety of topics, trading topics, options, stocks, futures, in a wide variety of languages and also trading approaches. And there are very active traders there, all working together to help each other become better traders. So again, Bookmap Discord, free and available to everyone. Great place to find a very friendly, active trading community. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @DougPless. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. Also, my focus is primarily intraday trading, but the setups that I talk about could very well be used for swing trading as well. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel in Discord as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Friday, January 26th. First of all, I want to talk about news items, economic data, and events for today, and then a preview of next week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today, and then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anybody has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with economic data for today. A very important number was released today, the PCE data. And it came in, I guess there are a variety of versions of PCE. So core PCE came in lower than expected, lower than the previous number. Then it looks like the PCE came in line. Consumer spending a little bit higher than expected. All right, so that's the PCE data. That's for today, the primary data release. Let's take a look at the S&P 500 futures now in Bookmap to see the reaction to that data. And there it is, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Kind of an up, down, then up again. So there's the final leg. Up, down, up again, up to the SPX 4900 call wall, and then reverse lower. So overall, a bullish, positive reaction to the PCE data. And Stephen asks, are you using Evernote to track the news release? So I'm actually using Financial Juice, and then just to, there's a free version of Financial Juice. That's what I'm using. And then I just clip that PCE data and paste it into Evernote. Just to hold it in place, an easy way to look at that. So again, the source is Financial Juice. There's a free version. I think you just have to sign up for it. All right, so that's the reaction to the PCE data. Overall, bullish reaction, then a reversal lower at the 4900 call wall. And then next week, the January FOMC meeting starts on Tuesday with the announcement on Wednesday at 2 p.m. and then the press conference at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. So the announcement will come during my webinar next week on Wednesday, and we'll certainly cover that. And by the way, I'll cover this more in a minute. These levels should look very familiar. And if they don't, you can watch my webinar from yesterday and take a look at the post that I posted in Discord, the Options-Doug chat channel and Futures channel in Discord, Bookmap Discord. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes. I'll actually show that. All right, so let's move on to positional analysis now. This is the S&P 500 futures, ES futures and Bookmap. So I'm going to start with the S&P 500. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at a larger time frame. And I'm going to go to the underlying index. Sorry, wrong chart. Underlying index, which is SPX. That is the underlying index for the S&P 500. This is the really the current rally that began October 30th. Ran into resistance right around 4,800. And then last Friday, options expiration Friday, broke firmly above that level. And now SPX has been testing the 4,900 level, which is the current call wall. I'll talk more about that in just a minute. All right, so the rally after a brief pullback at the beginning of the year now is continuing higher. And again, up to 4,900. All right, let's take a look now at another SPX chart. Let's go to a 1-hour chart. So the previous chart was a 1-day chart. This is a 1-hour chart. Wrong chart. Sorry about that. Here we go. All right, so this is a 30-day 1-hour chart. Here's the resistance, 4,800. Then the breakout last Friday. Above that level, that was options expiration. And now SPX continues to grind higher. All right, let me point out the levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market. That is updated once a week. I update that over the weekend. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market. I update that once a day, every day. I take this information at the close. This expected move should be available in any trading platform with an options chain. And that's where I get it from Thinkorswim. All right, the dark red lines are showing Spotgamma levels. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. So these are levels that are proprietary to Spotgamma. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers, shown on a variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim. So the first level that I want to point out is the put wall at 4,500. That's a strike with the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. The next level up is the volatility trigger at 47.95. That is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma and volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, like SPX is trading now above that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. So generally, in a negative gamma environment, I'm looking for more wider trading range, more trend days. In a positive gamma environment, looking for a more narrow trading range, more mean reverting price reaction range days. Note that level did move lower from yesterday. So on Wednesday it was at 47.95. Yesterday moved up to 48.45. Now back down to 47.95. And note that all other key daily levels for SPX remain the same. So the next level up is the call wall at 4,900. That's the level that has been in play for today. That's a strike with the largest net positive gamma, can be expected to act as resistance. SPX did trade up above that level earlier today. And then the next level up is the absolute gamma strike at 5,000. That's a strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. So that's where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. All right, finally, let's take a look at a 1 minute chart just to see the levels in play for today. So this is showing just a little less than 2 days worth of data. Regular trading hours in the dark shaded area. So here's the cluster of levels that has been in play for today. 4,900 call wall, this combo level just below that, combining SPX and SPY gamma weighted open interest into one level, shown here in terms of an SPX price. And then that's the upper weekly expected move for SPX just below that level. So the 4,900 level has acted as resistance in the past, and now let me zoom out. All right, so here's Wednesday. Thursday, price couldn't make it up there. And then SPX broke above that level today, briefly acted as support, and now SPX is trading below that level. All right, let's go to Bookmap. All right, so again for SPX, the only shift in level was the volatility trigger shifted lower. All right, so this is the ES futures in Bookmap. I have my own cloud notes, so I can show SPX levels on this chart. There's the call wall and the combo level just below that. The dashed purple line is the upper weekly expected move for ES, very close to the upper weekly expected move for SPX. I'm also showing SPY levels on this chart. There's the SPY 487 level that has been in play for today, acting as support for long right after the PCE data release, and also a 10 a.m. long. I'll cover that setup more in just a few minutes. Right now it looks like price is trading below that 487 level. So that level was critical yesterday as well as today. All right, note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. And today it's about 27 points. So ES minus SPX is 27. That's what I'm using today. So the 4900 SPX level is shown at ES 4927. And I do post the index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord. I try to get them in Discord by 10 a.m. Well, let's see where so yeah, I got 9:55. So when these relationships kind of settle out for the day, I'll post them in Discord. All right, so I'm showing SPY levels and SPX levels, as well as key levels of interest for the ES. And note after price broke above the 4900 level, this 489, that's not a Spotgamma level, but that is a round number for SPY, acted as resistance. And we'll see that kind of same thing on NQ. All right, let's speaking of NQ, let's move over to NQ. So this is the Nasdaq futures and Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at QQQ levels so we can isolate the QQQ levels in play for today. The dark area is the regular trading hours. And here's this 426 level acting as resistance. Oh, and I forgot to mention for the SP 500, just let me wrap that up. SPY, the volatility trigger shifted higher and the call wall shifted higher. So that's the most significant thing. There was some discussion about the call walls in Bruce's webinar this morning. And when I was looking at the SPX 4900 call wall, keeping in mind that the SPY call wall moved up to 490 from 487 yesterday, in my mind, giving the SP 500 a little bit more room to move to the upside. All right, so back to QQQ now, 426 acting as resistance. Note 424 is the volatility trigger and also the absolute gamma strike. So there's the 424 level. And then the 426 level acting as resistance, shown on my own cloud notes here. Let's take a quick look at NDX, just for completeness. Last time I looked, there were no NDX levels in play. So there we go, no NDX levels in play for today. The dark shaded portion is the NDX for today. All right, so back to NQ futures and Bookmap. So again, my own cloud note showing levels in play for today, primarily the QQQ levels, 426 and 424. And then also this 425 level, that is the zero gamma level. All right, shifts in levels for NASDAQ. For NDX and QQQ, the volatility triggers both shifted higher, and that's it. All other levels, put wall, call wall, absolute gamma strike, all remain unchanged from yesterday. All right, let's take a look at gamma notional now, and then we'll start to take a look at some setups. Oops. All right, this is something that I look at every day. Hello, Caesar. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, so this is something that I look at every day. This gives me a sense of potential volatility and trading range for the day. So this is gamma notional, market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, Nasdaq, and Russell 2000. So note for the S&P 500, both of these numbers are positive. What Spotgamma assumes for an index is that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls, hence the positive gamma. So this is market makers' position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. And again, in a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility. Then on the other hand, for the Nasdaq here for QQQ, gamma notional is negative. So again, for an index, what market makers, what Spotgamma assumes, in a negative gamma environment, traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and they have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to enhance or increase volatility when market makers are trading with price. So for the S&P 500, gamma notional shifted higher for SPX and SPY. And what Brent, the founder of Spotgamma, looks at is the Spotgamma index, gamma index, and that number ranges from -4 being the most volatile, the most negative, to +4 being the most positive, or the lower, less volatile. So 2.35 is a fairly high number. All right, let's take a look at some setups now. So again, I'm looking for lower volatility for the day, and really the maybe neutral to bullish for the S&P 500, and that did play out in the morning, and then kind of neutral for the Nasdaq. So that was based on kind of the minimal shifts in levels, and also the gamma notional, positive gamma notional for the S&P 500. And as always, I'm confirming my thesis, looking for setups based on reactions at levels, order flow in Bookmap, and what options traders are doing. That's shown here in Hero. This is the Hero signal. This is from Spotgamma, available to Spotgamma subscribers. So hedging, Hero stands for Hedging Impact Real-Time Options. Everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, is based on static data. So the Spotgamma levels, gamma notional, Spotgamma takes open interest data, applies their proprietary algorithms to that data to come up with the levels that I use in my planning and setting up my charts in the morning. Now we're going to move on to the execution process and take a look at real-time data. So this chart is real-time. It's showing price for SPX and options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures, all into one combined signal. And a falling Hero signal indicates traders are taking negative delta positions. Market makers are taking the opposite side of that, and they're hedging their delta exposure with ES futures. So when traders buy and sell calls and puts in these underlying index products, market makers take the opposite side and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. That's the most efficient way for them to hedge. On the other hand, when the Hero signal is rising, this indicates traders are taking positive delta positions. Again, market makers are taking the opposite side of that, and they have to buy futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, let's zoom in on this chart now and take a look at a setup. So the setup that I want to focus on is this setup right here. Note that Hero initially in the morning was negative. Traders are taking negative delta positions. That means they were buying puts and or selling calls. And then just right around 10:15, 10:20, Hero shifts directions pretty sharply. They start taking positive delta positions, and price responds higher. Right, so note that was somewhere between 10:15 and 10:20. All right, let's go to back to Bookmap. Take a look at that setup. Let me zoom in. All right, one thing to note, I did have an issue with my computer this morning. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Let me point out what's going on the subchart here. This yellow line, this is part of the MBO bundle. It's showing stop orders. So this is based on market by order MBO data that's available from Rhythmic. Spotgamma uses that in the MBO bundle to show the stop orders. Those are CME market order types. The blue line is showing iceberg orders. Also an order type shown for CME futures provided by Rhythmic data. And note that when I restarted my computer right around 9:47, 9:45, all the previous MBO data was lost. All right, so sorry about that. I did have to reboot this morning, having pretty significant latency issues with Rhythmic data. Restarting my computer fixed that, but I did lose all the MBO data prior to that. Now, I didn't lose any other data. All the heat map, the volume dots, all that was still there, CVD, but I did lose the MBO data. All right, so before I go any further on this setup, I do want to review what I talked about yesterday. I also posted this in Discord and on X. So this is the setup from yesterday. Notice the 487. So yesterday, this is SPY 487. That was the absolute gamma strike and call wall. Now today the call wall moved up to 490. 487 remains the absolute gamma strike. So traders were, and let's go on to the next screenshot here. So the key was this 487 level being an entry point for a long pullback, and higher low, aggressive buyers coming in, price moving up to the combo level. The combo level today, yesterday, was 2 points below the 4,900 call wall. Those were the key targets. That's for yesterday. Then the next thing to take a look at, let's go back. All right, so notice the time of the reversal. Just before 10:05 is the touch of the 487 level. So again, that's from yesterday. Now let's take a look at Hero from yesterday. First of all, the Magnificent 7 signal. So note that starts rising just somewhere between right around 10 a.m. This orange line is showing that traders were buying calls in the Mag 7 stocks. When traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and price moves higher. So traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. So that's what the rising orange line is. Finally, let's take a look at the Hero signal for the SP 500. Again, this is from yesterday. And there the hero signal starts to move pretty sharply higher, right around 10:08. So the hero signal for the Mag 7 stocks was acting as a leading indicator. And we'll take a look at that today as well. All right, so keeping that set up in mind from yesterday, this is almost identical, except price did move higher than today the combo level and the 4,900 level just above that. Same launching point, pullback, in this case to VWAP. The volume dots in Bookmap are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. Green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. So aggressive buyers start to come in. And then as price starts to move higher, buy stop orders help to fuel the move higher. Shown by the on-chart indicator, as well as the rising yellow line in the subchart. Also this pink to dark blue line, that's cumulative volume delta. You can see all the green volume dots as price moves up, brief consolidation at the cluster of levels there, and then moves all the way up to 489, finally finding resistance. You can see all the sellers there. That is shown in the heat map and Bookmap, showing a history of the limit orders in the order book. And then price finally reverses lower. And we'll see some additional confirmation in just a moment. All right, so let's go back to Hero now. And this is for today. Initially, Hero signal moving lower, traders taking negative delta positions. And then right somewhere between 10.15 and 10.20, traders start taking positive delta positions and price moves higher. All right, let's take a look now at the Magnificent 7 signal. Let me just zoom out and show exactly what this is. So this is a combined signal, just like the S&P 500, but in this case, it is combining options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal for the stocks known as the Magnificent 7, maybe soon to be the Magnificent 6, with the way Tesla is performing lately. But anyway, that is options trades, market maker hedging activity for Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, and Tesla. Or let's zoom back in on this chart. I'm going to zoom in on the morning a bit. And notice, just like yesterday, Hero signal starts to rise just before 10 a.m. in this case. So a leading indicator here, traders start taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks. And actually they were selling puts. That's shown by the rising blue line. So they started selling puts. Then when they started buying calls, that's shown by the rising orange line. Sorry about that. Go back to the total signal. Sorry about that. Somehow shifting from total signal to puts and calls seems to, and shifting back triggers this auto zoom. I guess Spotgamma is still working on this. Sorry about that. All right, so leading indicator here, leading signal. Traders start taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks. These stocks make a very large portion of both the S&P 500 and especially the Nasdaq 100. And I've started, for Nasdaq, I've just started looking at this signal rather than the Nasdaq combined signal. All right, so there's the long setup. Mag 7 stocks leading. And then traders join taking long positive delta positions in SPX and SPY, and ES responds higher. All right, let me check for questions. All right, Caesar asked, do you see any similar dynamics to yesterday where we reversed hard off the lows around this time yesterday? I'll take a look in just a minute. Let me wrap that up. One thing to keep in mind for yesterday and potentially for today, gamma notional is positive, so I'm looking, not really looking for a hard trend down. Well, let's just zoom out and see what. So in a positive gamma environment, really looking for more mean reverting price action. I'll talk more about this in just a few minutes. All right, let's get to Nasdaq now. So very similar. Again, lost all MBO data up until about 9:45. And the key for this setup was to watch the hero signal for Mag 7 stocks. So price broke this trend line. Long entry at the 424 absolute gamma strike, also VWAP there. Price moves up to 426. All right, so let's go back to the Mag 7. Let me just take a quick look at the Nasdaq signal. So this is why I look at the Mag 7 signal, hero signal, rather than the Nasdaq. Although I do look at Nasdaq as a kind of another confirmation, but Mag 7 really giving you know, a better signal. All right, so there's the long. Traders start taking positive delta positions, and Nasdaq reverses higher at QQQ 424. And note, and I posted this during Bruce's webinar in his chat channel, that options traders took their foot off the gas on schedule, and note what happens to price. Price consolidates, moves lower, one more test. This is very similar pattern, and then finally price reverses lower as hero starts to drop pretty sharply. WRB asks, when using the Mag 7, do you now handicap the Mag 6 due to Tesla? I'll show you what I think is driving the Mag 7 when I get to stock setups in just a minute. All right, so again, Caesar, I'll take a look at current market in just a minute. All right, so that's the setup in the long setup in Nasdaq. Let's take a look at, so I've talked about now this move up to starting right around 1045, 1050. Options traders take their foot off the gas, and then price consolidates. Let's go back to Nasdaq now. Zoom in a bit. Oops, sorry about that. Forgot to turn off that. So when the options traders took their foot off the gas, this set up some nice shorts from the 426 level, multiple entries here. Notice the green volume dots on the way up. Aggressive buyers, aggressive sellers start to come in, and multiple shorts from QQQ 426 down to NQ 600. Short, 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 green volume dot to magenta volume dot, short at 426, short at 426, and that one finally works. Note the subchart here that this finally broke below 600 and 425. Note the shift in the subchart there. Stop CVD, and notice all the iceberg signal for Nasdaq. Selling strength all the way up. So icebergs, large traders selling icebergs all the time, all the way up as Nasdaq was rallying. Large traders use iceberg orders to hide their size. Let's take a quick look at some stocks, and then we'll get to the current market. So very quickly, and what I want to point out, let's go back to Hero. So WRB, maybe this will answer your question. So let's go to so this is the Mag 7 signal. I'm going to zoom in just a bit on this. Also separate out puts and calls. Hopefully it won't auto zoom on me. All right, so that's the Mag 7 signal. I'm going to go over to NVIDIA. Let me zoom in again. And this should look familiar. Mag 7. Actually, I'm going to have to stay zoomed out. So up until about noon, the signal was very similar. So this may clarify a little bit more. Move down, move up, take the foot off the gas, price moves lower. So let's go take a look at NVIDIA and Bookmap. So my point, WRB, is I don't think Tesla has that much of an impact on the Mag 7 anymore. So here's NVIDIA. Move down. Price reverses higher. Options traders taking positive delta positions. Take the foot off the gas, start selling, and price moves lower. And let's take a look at, go back to Hero. And I'm just going to stay on the total signal. All right, so here's Netflix. Another bullish day in Netflix. 560 is the call wall, key gamma strike. Note all the flow alerts here. And then remember what time the Hero signal for the Mag 7 started to move higher, right around 9:55. And that's when call buyers come in Netflix, and pretty close to the time that the Mag 7 the signal moved higher in NVIDIA as well. One other thing to point out, this call wall breach, I've talked about this before. So when traders buy calls, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. So traders are long calls, market makers are short calls, and all the calls concentrated at that call wall at 560. As price moves up, those go further deeper in the money, delta increases, and market makers have to continue to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. Similar pattern, this time a little bit later in the day. Traders take their foot off the gas and price consolidates. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to Netflix. So not quite the same move lower as NVIDIA. Traders here were more just stopped buying rather than started selling as in NVIDIA. And then finally, let's take a look at AMD. Let's go back to Hero. AMD. So just before 10 a.m., traders start taking positive delta positions in AMD rallies. Similar time as NVIDIA, Netflix. In the case of NVIDIA, in the case of AMD, they start selling, taking negative delta positions. Price moves lower. All right, so plenty of stock setups today. And here in the case of AMD, no call wall breach for you. Call wall acting as resistance. Price moves lower. And that's the 180 level. Let's go to Bookmap. So 180 is the call wall, key gamma strike, acting as resistance. So in the case of AMD, the call wall doing its job. There was some consolidation around that level, then price finally moved lower. As options traders and aggressive sellers finally got their way. All right, let's go back to the live market now. All right, thinking about similarities with yesterday, let's take a look at let's just take a look at yesterday for reference. This is a screenshot of yesterday, the entire day in ES. Zoom in on this just a bit. So here's that 487 level. Price did break below that 487 level and finally found support. And this was just at the end of my webinar. So at the end of my webinar, price was just finding support at around the ES 4900, SPX 4873, and SPY 486. And really this trend break did not occur until almost 3 p.m., so well after my webinar, and I would not have considered a long until then. I don't have a screenshot of Hero for the day, but I know it did shift higher toward the end of the day, I believe. All right, so looking at today, this price is now above that 486 level and above also 487. So before we take a closer look at this, let's take a look at See what options traders are doing. Go back to Hero. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. All right, so in the S&P 500, I don't see any strong confirmation. Hero signal is started to rise just before 2 p.m., but still making lower highs. Let's take a look at the Mag 7 signal. So still not firmly rising. Nasdaq signal making lower highs. So far not a lot of boost from options traders for long setup. Let's take a look at VIX. All right, so VIX was this dark shaded portion. Let me just zoom in on that. That's regular trading hours today. So it looks like VIX may have bottomed right around 1325. Maybe now heading higher. All right, so far today I didn't see any real support from options traders taking positive delta positions. One really interesting thing that I noticed before, note the large iceberg orders selling at the lows of the day. I think this is really interesting, and they're trading at some size, shown by the on-chart indicator. That's 6,000 contracts, sell iceberg orders, 2 executions. Note the aggressive buyers buying those. Here's another. That's 2,087 contracts, iceberg sell orders. So aggressive buyers in there. Also note all the liquidity in the heat map. Resting limit orders, buy orders. Aggressive sellers, stop orders, consume that. Also now one large trader coming in with iceberg orders, buy iceberg orders. That's 1,000 contracts executed. All right, so this very well could be the low of the day. I'd certainly want to see cumulative volume delta start to tick up again, as well as the hero signal. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq looking a little bit weaker here. Subchart, iceberg stops, CVD, all negative and still trending down. Let's go back and check hero again. All right, hero for the S&P 500. Separate out puts and calls. Not a lot of additional clarity. Still making lower highs, now trending down again. Check Mag 7. Flat hero signal. Go back to Bookmap. All right, Uncle asks, in your opinion, are the icebergs opening new positions or being used to close existing positions? I guess there's really no way of knowing, and I don't know if it actually really matters. They're buy sell iceberg orders. Here, buy iceberg orders here. All right, so I will say I normally don't trade in the afternoon. I think the easier money, the more clear money was made from 9:30 to 12:30. Pretty obvious long. I talked about this at length, comparing it to yesterday. Pretty obvious long and short as options traders took their foot off the gas. I thought that short was more clear in Nasdaq. All those multiple tests of 426. Yeah, I think there were 5 entries before the last one finally took, but we're all good for maybe up to 20 points each in Nasdaq before finally catching a runner just before 12:30. So again, I thought the the easier money, more clear setups were here, and this is all right. Juan asked, what was the best trade in ES today? Let me get back to ES. And this trade again that I covered earlier today, talked about it at length. Identical to yesterday. Mag 7 options traders leading. SPX SPY options traders following, and confirmed with multiple confirmations or order flow here in Bookmap. So there you go, Juan. If you didn't, if you're just joining us, I covered this in detail earlier in my presentation, and also posted in a similar setup in Discord yesterday. All right, so it looks like some aggressive buyers may be coming in ES, maybe finding support at 487. Let's see what options traders are doing. And not so much. Hero still making lower highs. So at this point, my trading day, my trading week is over. So I'm logging my trades and journaling and whatever whatever I do to wrap up the week. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. All right, so far no seeing no signs of a move higher, but you know on a Friday afternoon especially you can never discount anything. All right, you're welcome, Juan. All right, Caesar, I hope I answered your question. Again, uh, not seeing any real sign of a rebound so far, other than this 487 holding so far, kind of holding as support. So we'll see. All right, everyone, my time is up. I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments, questions. Thank you for your participation this week. Remember, excuse me, next week, FOMC on Wednesday, we'll take a look at the Fed watch tool, see what traders are expecting the Fed to do. And then we'll on Monday, I'll talk about all the data releases, all the economic data for the upcoming week. All right, everyone, have a great weekend. Thanks again, and I will see you on Monday. Bye.